for joining us at this time. You're watching News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. The top stories. Federal government and American government signed memorandum of understanding for training commanders of a police special intervention squad. A component of Operation Wild Punch kills 30 terrorists on motorcycles in Burkina local government area of Kaduna State. Federal government expresses sadness over pronouncement of republics of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger withdrawing membership of their countries from the Economic Community of West African States. Details coming up shortly. Welcome back. I am Omohefe Peace Osebere. Now, the federal government and the American government have signed a memorandum of understanding for the training of the commanders of the police special intervention squad to tackle banditry and other raging crimes in the country. The Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, on Monday inaugurated a training program in Abuja in partnership with the United States Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. The Special Intervention Squad is an initiative of the IG that was created to combat violent crimes across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. However, since creation, the Special Intervention Squad had only been established in 2 territories, Plateau State and the FCT, following the rise in banditry and kidnapping in both places. Now, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has asked the Independent National Electoral Commission to pay its outstanding bills so the Air Force could help to airlift materials for Saturday's by-elections. Abubakar made the demand during a visit to him in Abuja by the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to seek the support of NAF ahead of the February 3rd rerun and by-elections. INEC will conduct and reruns in 26 states of the Federation on Saturday. In 9 states, 2 senators, 4 members of the House of Representatives and 3 members of State Houses of Assembly will be elected in by-elections to replace members who died or resigned their memberships of the national and state assemblies. Moving on, the air component of Operation Wild Punch has killed 30 terrorists on motorcycles in Burkina local government area of Kaduna State. But this was as security operatives in Katsina State on Sunday rescued 35 kidnapped victims inside Dumburu Forest. The Kaduna airstrikes were ordered following an intelligence report which disclosed the movement of the terrorists in the area. According to a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet, the eliminated terrorists were responsible for the ambush of troops at Kwanan Mutua recently, as well as several attacks and abduction of innocent civilians in the local government area. The strike followed an intelligence report of the movement of the syndicate along the Quiga-Kampamin-Doka axis in Burkina local government area of Kaduna State. You are watching News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Still to come, Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, says his administration is determined to make Lagos a continental business hub. Details of this and more after the break. Do join us again. Welcome Welcome back. You're watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Now, no fewer than 10,378 candidates who wrote direct examination, entry examination organized by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board in 2023 now have their admission suspended. According to reports, this followed the failure of their A-level issuing institution to submit a verification report to JAMB. In February 2023, JAMB issued an advisory to guide candidates seeking to gain admissions through direct entry into the 2023-2024 academic session. JAMB said the advisory was basically to address the issue of candidates using unacceptable or forged A-level certificates or qualifications to gain admission. Recently, JAMB advised the candidates to contact their former institutions as soon as possible to have their certificates verified, stressing that it would not accept students with unverified certificates. We now head on to Lagos State, where the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has said that his administration is determined to make Lagos a continental business hub. Sanwo-Olu stated this in Lagos during the arrival ceremony of the largest container vessel to berth in West Africa, CMA CGM Scandola, at the Lekki Deep Seaport. The governor appealed to shipping companies to ensure that vessels of this size often berth at Lagos Port. The governor stressed the need to build bigger port facilities in the state and beyond. The federal government has said it was ready to engage the governments of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger Republic so the people of the West African countries can continue to enjoy the economic benefits and democratic values in the economic community of West African states, ECOWAS. The government's declaration came yesterday as international affairs experts, including former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, and ex-Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Professor Bola Akintarinwa, described the withdrawal of the three countries from the group as development that has set the regional body against itself, compromise trade and delay return to civil rule in those countries. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, in a statement signed by the spokesperson, Francisca Omayuli, said Nigeria expresses its sadness over the pronouncement by the military authority in the Republic of Niger, indicating that the republics of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger have withdrawn membership of their countries from the economic community of West African states, ECOWAS. Now recall that ECOWAS suspended the three countries in the wake of the military coup that toppled their democratically elected government. Akinyemi described the exit of the three countries as a major crisis influenced by Russia to weaken Western influence in Africa, while Akintarinwa said the withdrawal, or saw the withdrawal, as a case of a house divided against itself. Similarly, retired Ambassador Ogbole Ode said the development was capable of disintegrating the organization, even as West African observers feared that the exit of the three countries could compromise trade and delay return to civil rule. The military regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger have announced their immediate withdrawal from the economic community of West African states, ECOWAS, saying that it has become a threat to member states. The three countries, through their military leaders, Captain Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, Colonel Assimi Goita, Mali, and Brigadier General Abdramani Chiani of Niger Republic, made the announcement in a joint statement on Sunday. Joining us now to discuss this is a professor of political institutions and comparative politics, Department of Political Science, Usman Danfodio University, Professor Yahya T. Baba. He joins us live via telephone from Sokoto State. Good afternoon to you, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Right. Good to hear from you. I mean, it's been a while.
Great. Good to talk to you too.
Right. Let's start a conversation this way. But first of all, sharing your thoughts with us as to what you make of, the progression of events in these countries since, the juntas took over government.
Yeah, I think this is a very sad development in the bloc. The military coups, politically a setback for this very particular, bloc and for the countries that have these coups have taken place. We have gone a very long way with democratic development, with democratic consolidation in the whole of West African sub-region. And of course, we have one after another coups, take over.
Prof, are you there?
West African states to actually activate its sanction, mechanism of suspending this very particular 3 countries from the bloc, and also asking them to facilitate the reinstatement of the deposed democratically elected leaders. Responses from these 3 countries were quite negative, and of course, since then, the diplomacy was at its very lowest ebb in engaging with these 3 military leaders, and of course, all efforts to see that these 3 rebellious countries, so to say, if you call them in that context, to see to the rationality of returning to democratic government have not actually yielded much results. And the blockade that was instituted, the sanctions that were imposed on those countries actually made matters worse.
Okay.
And of course, we just had a day before yesterday, these 3 countries have jointly decided to opt out of this very particular economic bloc, which is a sad development. Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry to butt you, but if you'd let me, I'd like to take you back to, the very term you used, rebellious, countries. But for these countries, they say it is, it became imperative for them to, exit, the community and the authority because it has now become a threat to member states. How do you decipher that, from what other, other statesmen are saying about the situation on ground?
Yeah, I think we have to look at this position in a context. Remember, these 3 countries are all francophone countries. They are doing experiences, so to say, some sort of influence, interference, control, and intervention. Economically, militarily, and of course politically, from the elsewhere colonial masters France, and there has been this sentiment that is growing in these francophone countries on the need for these francophone countries to completely delete from French control, from French influence, and from French, domination. And this sentiment is not growing only in the military; it's growing in the population, the civil society, and the whole of those population are now, so to say, running around their military leaders because of the steps they have taken to actually, cut off, so to say, from the French clutches of neo-colonial relations. And this exit from the community, it sounds only positive as far as these countries are concerned, because to their mind, the regional bloc has not actually risen with their antecedents, with their crisis, with their very bad situation, economically, politically, and even security-wise. And then the best thing to do is just to declare their complete non-acceptance of the position of the community as far as the national interests of these 3 countries are concerned. So, if you like, the context in which these 3 military leaders have taken the decision to take over power from the civilian, from a democratically elected government, is born out of the urge and the urgency to actually delink from the French excessive
Okay.
Prof, over their politics.
All right, Prof, if you can hear me, would it be intelligent to say that ECOWAS actually shot itself on the foot, in the first place, by even suspending, these countries?
Oh, yes. I think not even that. Even before then, there was this threat of military action by ECOWAS to forcefully return the deposed democratic leaders to power. And this actually dealt a very big blow to diplomacy between ECOWAS and the 3 countries. And then secondly, the ECOWAS decided to suspend those very particular 3 countries that actually were coups place. And that was also another second mistake the community has made. Instead of engaging, with the dialogue, with diplomacy, with persuasion, to see to the possibility of recognizing the need for democratic rule, or the need for a calendar, the need for return to democratic government in a space of time, ECOWAS gave conditions and insisted on those conditions. And those conditions are hard by any military government anywhere in the world to accept. For it to topple a civilian government for reasons they have advanced, and for it to be compelled to actually return that same government it has actually ousted. It's going to be difficult given the nature and the character of military government.
Okay,
so, of course, we understand that the ECOWAS fears that contagious effect, that bushfire effect of military coups spreading all over the region, but then it didn't actually do well, diplomatically to engage those very particular military leaders to come to a middle ground in addressing and solving this very particular problem.
All right, so has ECOWAS lost its relevance in Africa, especially with the claims that it has moved away from the ideals of the founding fathers and Pan-Africanism?
Yeah. I think ECOWAS is one of the most effective sub-regional organization in the continent of Africa. It's one most successful, if you like, regional bloc that exists on the surface of the political landscape of Africa. And it has also very robust objectives of integrating the region, of harmonizing relations and policies and programs, and creating, say, free trade area, common single market, custom union, economic and financial union. It's gone a very long way in fostering cooperation, in fostering integration, and of course enhancing relations, trade relations, and economic activities and transactions, and movements of persons, goods, and services between and among the region. This is the initial philosophy behind the formation of the platform. But we should remember, Nigeria led the movement for the creation of ECOWAS as a bloc. And this is because of Nigeria's bitter experience with the Civil War. Nigeria invested its resources and diplomatic, financial, economic resources to ensure that the bloc is actually integrated, so as to forestall future occurrence of this large-scale threat that Nigeria experienced during the Civil War, in which most of its neighbors, who are francophone, actually supported Biafra and ensured that supplies of food and munitions come the way of Biafra, which made the war to last for 30 months, leading to death and destruction in the country. This is the background that actually explains the formation of ECOWAS. But ahead of it, economic integration of the region, cooperation, trade, and there is traditional history of this trade relations that exist between and amongst the people of this region. The transparent trade routes, which stretch from Algeria, Libya, down to Mali, to Burkina Faso, to Niger, Burkina Faso, to northern Nigeria, is an established, trade relations that exist between and amongst the people that actually exist across the breadth and length of this very particular bloc.
All right, Prof. As it stands, what do you think, this development will portend for, trades within Africa?
Yeah, I think this is a very sad development. ECOWAS has not handled the matter well. EU has not also handled the matter well, and that the revolution, so to say, that is being led in these three countries, if we are not careful, if we didn't take serious caution, this could spread across different francophone countries. Remember, this sentiment is a huge sentiment that is growing not only in Mali, not only in Niger, not only in Burkina Faso, but in other francophone countries. And that remember, the francophone countries are the largest in number in this very particular economic bloc. And if we don't handle this matter well, if these francophone countries decide to form a platform of their own, we'll see some of these very particular countries of Benin, of Togo, of Senegal, of Cote d'Ivoire, deciding to join their colleagues in the francophone. So I think we need to do quite well in diplomacy.
Indeed.
Engagement, consultation, dialogue, take away and give away. We need to bring these three countries back to the fold of ECOWAS. Otherwise, ECOWAS cannot stand the test of time.
All right. right. Prof, I mean, a takeaway from the conversation will be the fact that diplomacy is key. But I'm afraid we just have to leave the conversation here because of time. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for
All right. Professor Yaya Tanko Baba is a professor of political institutions and comparative politics, Department of Political Science, Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto. Well, our time would not permit us to go further in this conversation, but that's the much we can take. Thank you so much for watching. I am Omo, if a piece of Samara, and I'll be back at the top of the hour with the news update. Good afternoon.